Okay, Langley, when you're ready, let the show begin.
Hello out there, my dear good friends. You're welcome to this play. I hope it makes you happy. I hope it makes your day. The players are all ready to bring this play to life and tell you a good story about love and greed and strife. Now let me introduce you to the characters in this play. They're all so very lively and have a lot to say. First, here is Frankie Mason, a young man with big dreams. He has a lot to live for, but instead he wants to scheme. And then there's Frankie's mother, the sweetest mom in the world, who cares so much for Frankie, 'cause for her, he is her pearl. And then there's Frankie's father, a fine, outstanding man, who worries that dear Frankie will wind up in the can. And then there's Mr. Kaplan, who knows the boxing game. He tries to guide young Frankie, but what happens is a shame. And then there's Joseph Russo, the type that preys on fools. He wants to make a quick buck by breaking all the rules. And then there's Murray Berman, who's one of Frankie's fans, a radio reporter who thinks that Frankie's grand. And then there's Howard Kleinberg, who's a right upstanding cop. He goes to bat for Frankie when things get really hot. And finally there's the lady, whose name is Gertie Brown. She falls in love with Frankie and turns him all around. So now sit back and listen to what the actors say. The action's gonna start now, and with that, I present the play.
Scene 1, time 1937, place a boxing gym in New York City. 3 men are standing outside of a boxing ring watching a man in the ring shadowboxing. One of the men outside of the ring is wearing a hat that says press. The second man, much older, is wearing a suit and is smoking a cigar. And the third man is holding a stool and a bucket. The man in the ring is muscular but not muscle-bound, about 6 feet tall, has brown hair, is in his early 20s and handsome. Outside of the ring are several chairs. A robe is draped over one of the chairs.
Your boy is looking good, Mr. Kaplan.
Yes, Murray, he is looking good. In fact, he's going to win big.
Is that a prediction?
Call it what you want. Smitty, tell Frankie to take a break.
Frankie, take a break.
Smitty places the stool and bucket in the ring. Frankie stops shadowboxing and sits down on the stool. Smitty gives Frankie a cup of water, which Frankie drinks.
How do you feel, Frankie?
I feel great.
Aren't you a little bit nervous going up against the champ?
Why should I be nervous?
Doyle has knocked out last 5 opponents and put one of them in the hospital.
Well, that won't happen to me. If anyone's going to be going to the hospital, it'll be him, not me. His guys were beat-up club fighters and cannon fodder to make him look good.
It's going to be a great fight. And Frankie is going to come out on top. He's going to be the next middleweight champion of the world. You mark my words.
Murray is writing rapidly in a notepad. Frankie climbs out of the ring. Smitty gives Frankie the robe that is draped over a chair, removes the bucket and stool from the ring, and exits the stage.
Do you have any more questions?
I have one more.
What's the question?
The fight's 2 days away. You have any plans before the fight?
Yeah, to take it easy and think about how I'm going to beat Doyle.
Thanks a lot, Frankie. And you too, Mr. Kaplan.
Murray exits the stage.
So, how do you feel, Frankie?
Didn't you hear me? I feel great.
Well, you should feel great. You're the hometown favorite.
I know.
And I know you're a winner.
You got that right. Anything else?
Just keep up the good work. You know, you're going to show the world that you're the best. Think of it. Frankie Mason, the next middleweight champion of the world. This is your big chance, so don't blow it.
Don't. What do you mean by that?
You know what I mean.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You think I'm a fool? I know who you've been talking to. Those guys are trouble, and dealing with them is not worth the money.
Listen, Mr. Kaplan, you're my manager, you're not my father. I'll talk with anyone I want to, and if you don't like it, I'll get another manager.
That's up to you. I'm just warning you, kid. You know that I'm concerned about you, and I don't want to see you get into any trouble. You should have no problem with doing it. The only fighters he ever fought have been pushovers.
Well, I'm no pushover. The fight should be a big draw.
It'll be a big draw, all right. A Jewish guy fighting an Irish guy, and for the championship, what a dynamite combination. The arena will be packed.
The Jewish thing is for the press boys to play up. I'm fighting for the money, not for the glory of the Jewish people.
I haven't been in a synagogue since the day I was bar mitzvahed, and besides, my parents aren't exactly proud of what I'm doing.
Even though you're gonna line to be the champ?
That's right.
I guess they're not fight fans.
I guess not.
Well, maybe your parents are trying to look out for you.
Look out for me? Maybe. But listen, do you know what my parents wanted me to do?
What?
Become a school teacher. Can you imagine me going to school to become a school teacher? I hated school, and besides, my teachers are paid peanuts.
Just a moment. Being a school teacher is not such a bad job.
Who the heck wants to be stuck in a classroom with a bunch of kids?
There are plenty of guys and gals out there who gladly take that job, so don't put it down. Sometimes I wish I had stayed in school instead of getting into this racket.
I mean, why should you complain? You managed 3 world champions and you made a ton of money.
That's true, kid, but I've also seen 2 of my boxers die in the ring, and many more become punch drunk, and I don't want that to happen to you.
Don't worry, Mr. Kaplan, it won't.
That's what they all say.
Oh, Mr. Kaplan, don't make me cry.
You think that what I'm telling you is a joke?
No, I don't. But come on, give me a break, will you? You're bringing me down.
I don't mean to, kid, but I just got into a thoughtful mood. You remind me of my first boy, Kid Kavanaugh. Ever heard of him?
Yeah, I heard he was a great fighter.
Well, there was more to him than that. And the kid, whose real name was Shlomo Rabinowitz, came from real poverty. I mean, his family was dirt poor. 6 months after they arrived in this country, the kid's father died, leaving his wife with no money and 4 kids to feed. The kid, who was the oldest, had no choice but to leave school and get a job, and he was only 15 years old.
Sounds like things were tough.
They sure were. Anyway, one day the kid walked into Sally's gym on East Broadway and said that he wanted to put on the gloves. I happened to be there at the time. Sally gave him a tryout, and the kid was dynamite. I took him under my wing, and under my guidance, he became one of the great fighters of all time. And he was only a teenager. And soon the kid was making great money, and it seemed that nothing could stop him from becoming champ, but he had one problem.
What was that?
He was hard-headed. When the kid was 19, he met a 16-year-old girl named Dolores. Dolores and the kid soon became very close, and everyone in the neighborhood expected they'd get hitched. But the kid had other plans, which did not include marriage. And when he was warned that he was playing with fire, he told everyone to mind their own business. And one day, Dolores' father and 2 brothers showed up at Sally's gym looking for the kid. They accused the kid of rape. A huge brawl broke out. It was so bad that the police had to be called, and it even made the newspapers. In the ruckus, the kid broke his right hand, and he was a righty. His hand was really smashed up. The kid had surgery to fix his hand, but he couldn't make a fist anymore. He could not make a fist anymore, even so the kid went back to fighting. But now, with his hand busted, he was never the same. Soon after he disappeared, and a few months later, they found his body in an alley off Hester Street. I went to the morgue to identify the body. His mother couldn't afford a decent burial, so I paid for the funeral, which was officiated by a rabbi. The kid could have been one of the greatest fighters in history if he had just done the right thing and not acted so smart.
That's too bad for the kid. But where does it say the kid had to listen to anyone? And besides, what does this have to do with me?
Before you do anything foolish or get involved in situations you may not be able to get out of, think of what happened to the kid when he got into trouble.
Listen, I'm not in any trouble, and I don't plan to do anything foolish. In fact, I'm laying off the girls until after the fight.
Frankie, I think you missed the point.
No, I got the point. But don't you worry about me.
I gotta worry. You're not the first pug I managed who thought he could handle things himself. I remember a few years ago, I managed a guy named Battling Mo Brown, a great fighter but greedy. For a few bucks, he'd throw a fight. One day, a couple of guys in the West Side offered Brown 5 C's to take a dive. Brown took the money, but unbeknownst to him, his father had bet the family's entire life savings on who else? His son to win. that Brown threw the fight, his family lost their entire life savings, the 500 went to pay expenses. Brown became a bum and I was out of boxing. The point is that I have a lot of time and money invested in you. That's why if anybody approaches you about any business propositions, you tell them to talk to me. If anybody wants you to throw a fight, you tell them to talk to me. If anybody invites you to any private clubs, tell them to talk to me. Your job is to box. My job is to do the worrying. That way, you won't get into trouble. Okay, Frankie?
Kaplan has Frankie on the cheek.
Listen, Mr. Kaplan, I know you're a good guy and I'm appreciative of everything you've done for me, but I can take care of myself. And all you gotta do is set up my fights.
Frankie, you're a good kid, but even a good kid hate when you turn my money. I know, from personal experience. How do you think I got started in this business?
I really don't know.
Well, I'll tell you. I came to this country from Russia when I was 7 years old. Like almost everyone else at the time, my family was poor. My family was poor. We lived in a tenement on the Lower East Side. My father became a peddler. My mother stayed at home to care for me and my 6 brothers and sisters. My father worked hard, but he made very little money. We were practically starving. One day I was on the street playing hooky from school when I discovered a place on Delancey Street. A lot of tough-looking guys were going in and out of this place, which grabbed my interest. So I decided to go in and take a look inside. It was the first time I ever saw a boxing gym. It wasn't a very big place, but there were a lot of guys in there training, and the noise was incredible. Guys were working out, sparring, shadow boxing, punching the bag, everything. And for a 15-year-old kid, I thought this was great. While I was standing around, this old guy came over to me and asked me what I was doing there, and I told him that I was checking out the place, and the old guy laughed and asked me if I wanted to be a fighter. Well, right then and there, I told him yes, and started working out at the gym. When I got home, my father walloped me for good for playing hooky, but I didn't care. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't play hooky again, but in the evenings and weekends, I went to the gym and learned how to box. My parents didn't approve of my going to the gym, but what could they do? When I was 16, I fought my first professional fight for $5. I fought a kid named Charlie O'Hara, whose real name was Hyman Dinkowski. I lost the fight, but I liked the money and the action and continued fighting. But I wasn't that good. So after a dozen or so fights, I quit the ring, became a corner man. That's when I started learning the inside outs of the business, especially how boxing was not a sport, but a racket. But I didn't quit. Instead, when I was 23, I got my big break when I became the trainer and manager for Kid Clancy, who almost became middleweight champ. By this time, I was making good money, and boxing became my way of making a living. Soon I started managing other fighters, and the rest is history. But if it wasn't for the money, I doubt I'd be doing this now, and sometimes I think I should be doing something else.
Another great story, Mr. Kaplan. In fact, you're a walking history book of boxing, but I think it's time for me to go home.
Okay, kid, go home. Get some rest and watch what you eat. And remember, if you don't mess up, in 2 days you'll be the toast of the town because you'll be the next middleweight champion of the world.
Curtain. Scene 2. Time, evening, place, a kitchen. In the kitchen is a table where Frankie and his parents are having supper. Frankie's father is neatly attired in a suit. Frankie's mother is wearing a house dress. She is thin and appears worried. Frankie's parents speak fluent English without a European accent.
So, when's your big fight?
Saturday at the arena. Will you be there?
You know how I feel about you fighting.
Mildred passed it, right?
So, Seymour, what's it going to be with our son?
Please, Mom, not again.
Your mother's worried. I still don't understand why you became a prize fighter.
Can't you understand? For the money.
Well, I think it's a horrible way to make money. Besides, you're not wanting for anything.
I know that, Mom, but there's no way I'm going to go to college and become a school teacher. I barely made it out of high school.
That's because you didn't apply yourself. You would have done much better in school if you had stayed at home, studied, and done your homework. And if you didn't want to be a teacher, I could have brought you into the business.
You mean the place where you work?
That's right. And you would have made some good money there, too.
As a jeweler? No way.
What do you mean, no way? What's wrong with being a jeweler?
Nothing, Dad, except that it doesn't seem to pay very much.
It pays enough for me to support you and your mother.
Come on, you're making peanuts. I mean, I make more in one night of boxing than you can bend over your work table in a month.
But at least I don't get my head bashed in.
Does my head look bashed in?
So far, you've been lucky. Frank, Your mother and I really worry about you. Where did we go wrong with you? All you ever think about is money.
And what's wrong with that?
Well, haven't we provided for you?
Sure you have, Mama, but I want to be somebody, and the way for me to make it big is through boxing.
And you're not somebody now.
Sure I am, but I want more, you know, the fame, the headlines,
The pain, the blood, the corruption.
This conversation is going nowhere.
That's because you don't listen. All you do is talk and think that you know it all. Well, young man, I have news for you. You don't know it all. It's one thing to go box as a hobby, which to me is strange enough. But when you do it for money, you start attracting the attention of some very unsavory characters who play rough. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Boxing does attract a tough crowd, but I can deal with that.
You've made some good money already. Get out now while you still have your health.
Now,
Why not?
are you for real? 2 nights from now, I'm gonna make more money in 1 hour than I can make in an entire lifetime, and you want me to quit?
Yes, we do. It's not worth the money. In fact, we want you to quit before you really get hurt.
Don't worry, Mom, I won't get hurt.
That's what they all say.
In boxing, you always get hurt, whether you win, lose, or draw.
But don't baseball and football players get hurt too?
They do, Frankie, but in those sports, getting injured is incidental to the game. In boxing, to injure your opponent is the goal of the game. If you consider boxing a game, you get hurt because you're getting hit by somebody who wants to knock you out, and maybe do worse.
That's the risk I gotta take.
But why take such a risk? Is the possibility of getting killed worth the money?
I think you're over-dramatizing the situation.
That's what you think now because you're young. But I've never heard of any boxers who left the ring undamaged.
Do I seem damaged to you? I've had 25 pro fights and I haven't been scratched once.
Now I'm in line for the shot at the title. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Eventually your luck is going to run out.
Luck, nothing. I got what it takes to be champ.
Nobody's doubting you, Frankie. But you'll be going up against a pretty tough opponent who's knocked out a lot of guys. So don't be so sure of yourself.
There you go again. All you mama do is worry, 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 like I'm still a baby.
That's right. We worry about you. Even though you're not a baby. No matter how old you are, you're still our son.
Frankie, that may sound corny, but we mean it. And we don't want to see our only child get hurt.
I know, Dad, but you just two don't seem to understand.
What do you mean we don't understand? We understand a lot more than you think. I know what it's like to be poor and want to prove yourself.
I don't want to prove nothing to no one.
Oh, really? I seriously doubt that.
Well, it's true.
Let me tell you something. In life, we're all looking to prove something. Every day, I have to prove to your mother and to you that I'm a good father. Every day, I have to prove to my boss that I'm a good worker. Every day, I have to prove to myself that I'm still worthy of a bit of respect. So, Frankie, we all have something to prove.
You don't have to prove anything to me because I know you're a good guy.
And you know I'm a good guy because I've proved it to you.
Okay, Dad, you made your point.
Then, what are you trying to prove by being a fighter?
Remember senior year in high school and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do after I finished school?
I remember, so?
Well, a couple of friends of mine.
What, you mean Johnny and Pete? Those two bums were suspended from school.
Yeah, that's right, Mom.
But as I was saying, one night we went to see the fights at the Garden.
I could never understand why you hung around such riffraff.
Please, Mom, all right? Let me finish what I'm saying, okay?
All right, Frankie, I'll listen to what you have to say. But as far as I'm concerned, it was a so-called friends of yours who put you on the wrong path.
Anyway, so Johnny knew one of the fighters, you know, the guy named Tiger Malloy.
Tiger Malloy. I remember reading about him in the newspaper. Didn't he go to prison for armed robbery?
I think he did that. But let me get back to what I was saying. So after the fight, we all got together, went over to Times Square for a soda.
Only a soda.
Yes, Dad, only a soda. Anyway, we were all sitting together in the soda joint, you know, drinking soda. Then a couple of good-looking girls showed up. And when it came time to pay, Malloy stuck his hand in his pocket, out came out the thickest wad of bills I've ever seen. I mean, Malloy then left with the joint with the two girls, and right then and there I said to myself, if Malloy could have money and girls, then I could have it too, just like you see in the movies. So as you know, I started working out, building up my strength, and working out my punch. Then I started taking matches, and I won them all. And what's even better, I got paid for them too, just like the icing on the cake. Now I have some money in my pocket, I'm highly regarded, the girls like me, and soon I'll be fighting for the championship.
What you really mean is that you're in with a bunch of con artists and racketeers who will say anything to keep you fighting and make sure you get all the horse you need to keep you happy. Ah, that's disgraceful.
No, Ma. Girls aren't whores.
Oh, please, give me a break. Where did it go wrong with you?
But you still haven't answered my question.
About what I'm trying to prove.
That's right.
Let me put it to you more directly. I'm trying to prove to myself that I can set out and do something and succeed.
Succeed at what? That you can beat up other people? If you want to fight so much, why don't you just join the army?
First, I'm not interested in joining the army. And second, I don't beat up other people. I box them for money, and it's a legitimate sport.
Boxing is a legitimate sport? That's news to me. Are we supposed to believe that?
It is a fact that boxing is legal in this state and throughout the country.
But does that mean it's legitimate?
What do you mean?
Aren't fights fixed?
Maybe a few, Dad, but I've never taken a dive.
Maybe some of your matches were fixed and you didn't even know it.
I would know it.
I'm not so sure about that.
You are known as what a skeptic.
No, I'm what's known as a realist. People will do all kinds of things for money, like take a dive, for instance.
Do you think I'd take a dive?
I don't know. Would you?
I like to win.
I know you like to win, but that has nothing to do with taking a dive. Taking a dive has to do with money. A boxer doesn't take a dive for nothing.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't? Why? What I'm saying is so hard to understand.
Are you saying that I would take a dive for money?
For your sake, I hope not. But I've heard that boxing is a very corrupt business, and that for a few dollars, boxers can be bought and matches can be easily fixed.
Boxing is anything but phony.
Is that so? Your name is phony.
Yeah, it's bad enough you decided to beat up other people for a living. Why did you have to change your name?
Haven't I explained that to you already?
You have, but I still can't accept it.
It's business, Mom.
What kind of business requires that you change your name? It's not like you're in Hollywood.
Mom, I personally like the name Jacob Moskowitz, but I couldn't go over well on a boxing card, so I changed to something more catchy.
All right, you changed your name. Well, why do you insist that I only call you Frankie?
Because I like the name Frankie better.
Look, Frankie, we named you, and to us you'll always be Jacob, no matter what you call yourself.
I respect that, Dad. But from now on, I'm Frankie Mason, and you shouldn't take it so personally.
Like heck we shouldn't. Don't tell your mother or me how we should feel. We don't like the fact that you fight people for money and that you're involved in a dirty, vicious business that tries to pass itself off as a sport. It's disgusting. And what you're involved in goes against everything we taught you.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Well, if you're so sorry, then stop fighting.
That won't happen, Mom.
There's simply no talking to you.
All you have to do is say, I quit.
I don't think so.
Well, you can at least consider it.
No way.
You're a very stubborn young man.
No, I'm not. And stop pressuring me. I'm doing what I want to do. Why can I have your understanding and your support?
You'll always have our support, son, but that does not mean that we will condone something that we don't understand. You know how we feel about you boxing, and we know how you feel about it too. What you do is strictly your decision. Your father and I just hope that you don't get hurt or do anything that you later regret.
Lights out. Scene 3. Time, night. Place, inside a bar. Frankie is sitting at a table with a man who is about 40 years old. Frankie is casually attired. The man is wearing a business suit.
Well, kid, tomorrow is your big payday.
That's right, Mr. Russo.
So, you know what to do.
Don't worry, Mr. Russo. I know what to do.
You'll be rolling in money.
I guess so, Mr. Russo.
You don't sound too happy.
Am I supposed to sound happy?
Yeah, you're supposed to be sounding happy. After all, you're gonna get a big pile of money.
I know that.
Listen, kid. You're not thinking of backing out, are you?
No way. I just hope that you keep your end part of the bargain.
Don't worry about that.
There's something that's been bothering me.
What?
When someone gets out of line with you guys, what do? Shoot them?
Hey, I'm a businessman, not a street thug. I don't go around shooting people. And besides, you're no good to me, dick.
I'm glad you feel that way.
Okay. Enough of this small talk. Now let's get back to business. You've gotta make the dive look legit.
I'll try.
What do you mean, I'll try?
Exactly what I said. I've never thrown a fight before.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not joking.
Now you're making me a little nervous.
Can't help the way you feel.
Hey, listen, kid. Don't get smart with me. We're talking business, and I represent a lot of people who have an interest in what happens tomorrow, and I can't afford any screw-ups.
So?
So, I just want to make sure that you understand what's at stake.
I know what's at stake, and stop talking to me like I'm an idiot, okay?
Hey, will you please calm down, kid? You have to understand how I feel.
You're not the first person who told me that.
Are you dealing with somebody else?
Hey, Mr. Russo, you calm down, all right? I'm not dealing with anyone else.
This ain't no time to act like a wise guy.
I'm not being a wise guy.
So stop acting so smart. And don't even think about double-crossing me.
Are you kidding? I mean, why should I double-cross you?
I don't know. Why should you?
Don't you trust me?
Yeah, as much as you trust me.
All right. How much will I get?
25 G's.
It's not bad.
Not bad. This is the easiest money you'll ever make in your life.
Easy money for you. You won't be in the ring.
You getting cold feet again?
I don't have cold feet. I just hope that I'm not being set up for a shellac.
No way. The whole point of this is for you to take a dive, not to be shellacked.
Is Doyle in on the deal?
No.
Why not?
Why should he know?
So he'll know how to ease up on me a bit.
If he did, it wouldn't look real. This is something that can't be rehearsed, and besides, it's not like you have to knock him out.
You guys have everything all figured out.
I guess we do.
Well, do you think it's easy to take a dive?
Yeah, what's so difficult?
Well, what happens if I accidentally knock Doyle out before I hit the mat?
Well, make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I mean, go into the ring with my hands down and not throw any punches? If I do that, the crowd will know that the fight's fixed.
Gee, kid, you're beginning to make me feel nervous again.
Don't worry, I'll make it look good. But I'm not going to let myself get beaten to a pulp. Not for you, not for the money, not for anything.
Nobody's asking you to be beaten out.
All right.
Okay then. Does anybody suspect anything?
My manager does, but he'll be no problem.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely.
Now, before we part company, I want to ask you something personal.
Go ahead.
Why do you want to throw this fight?
For the money, period.
There will be a lot of people rooting for you to win.
So what? I don't expect to be doing this for the rest of my life, so I figure that I have to make as much money as I can while I can, and 25 G's plus a cut of the gate will be a nice start. So I might as well just go for it now.
But, wouldn't you like to be champ?
Sure I would, but the money comes first, and you guys are offering me a lot of money up front.
Okay, Frankie. I was just curious.
You can count on me.
I know I can. Talk to you after the fight.
Lights out. Scene 4. Time, next day after the fight. Place, inside a locker room. Frankie is sitting on a bench, wearing a robe. Smitty is removing the gloves from Frankie's hands. A door opens and Kaplan enters the scene.
Smitty, leave us alone for a while.
Okay, boss.
Smitty finishes removing the gloves, places them next to Frankie, and exits the stage.
How much did you get for taking the dive?
What are you talking about?
Stop putting on an act. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
25 G's. You gonna tell anyone, are you?
Are you kidding? You got enough problems already.
What problems?
You'll find out, Frankie. You're not the first chump that ever sold out to the mob. I'm just surprised that you did it when you had the chance to be the champ. It never fails to amaze me what some people would do for a few lousy bucks.
So I took a dive, so what?
Let me tell you something, Frankie. Once the mob has you in their grip, they don't let go. These mobsters will fix anything for a buck. And if it's not you, they'll find somebody else to be their pigeon. You think that $25,000 is a lot of money? Well, tonight, your new business partners make 20 times what they pay you. And don't think that they're finished with you. These guys don't know the meaning of the word no. You'll soon find out what I'm talking about.
I can take care of myself.
Kid Kavanaugh and Mo Brown told me the same thing, and look what happened to them.
You think I'm washed up?
As an honest fighter, yes, but as far as your career as a shill is concerned, this is just the beginning.
After throwing a fight.
That's right. The fans don't know that you threw the fight. They'll pay big money to see the rematch because you're a hometown boy and a crowd favorite.
Next time I'll win.
Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Well, what do you mean maybe? I'll win because I'm the best middleweight boxer in the world.
I won't dispute that, but your new business partners may have other different plans for you.
What do you mean different plans?
Frankie, don't think you've been listening to me. I told you that the mob doesn't know the meaning of the word no.
I'll just tell him to buzz off.
Frankie, you don't tell bookies, loan sharks, and racketeers to buzz off unless you have some protection. And you don't have protection, so you're at their mercy.
So what am I supposed to do?
Well, whatever you want. Just, you don't listen to anyone anyway.
Should I take the money?
You have no choice in the matter. Your new friends will insist. I suggest that you not spend the money.
I'll put it in the bank.
Hey. But then again, make sure that the bank is close by because you'll probably have to make some quick withdrawals.
For what?
You will need the money to buy protection. Lawyers and bodyguards are expensive.
Lawyers, bodyguards, I mean, why should I need them?
Because you're now part of the racket.
Because I took a dive.
That's right. You're now riding with some rough company. And I guarantee you that if you try to double-cross them, you're going to need bodyguards and lawyers fast.
We'll see about that. In the meantime, where does this leave you?
Well, I'm still your manager for now.
Well, what do you mean for now?
Well, I suspect that soon your friends will be asking me to leave.
Why?
Because I refuse to play ball with these guys.
Who will replace you?
Well, maybe Pub Levine or some other show.
And how will they replace you?
They'll simply tell me to get lost.
But what if I don't want you to get lost?
You have no choice in the matter. You're on their payroll.
Payroll for what?
They're going to pay your bills.
What bills?
For your expenses. As long as you're making money for them, you'll be treated like royalty. They'll set you up in the finest hotels in town and hook you up with the classiest dames money can buy. After a while, you may even get used to their smell.
But what if I don't want them to pay for my expenses?
No, I'm afraid they will insist. And like I said before, they don't know the word no. But just because they'll be paying your bills doesn't mean that you're their friend.
What do you mean?
To these guys, you're merely another sucker to be exploited and then discarded when they're through with you.
I didn't think that they were my friends.
That's exactly right, Frankie. You didn't think.
Hey, Mr. Kaplan, don't make fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm just telling you the truth. So when's the payoff?
Tomorrow.
Enough said, my boy. There are some reporters outside who want to interview you, so why don't we let them in and get this charade over with now?
Kaplan opens the door, and as reporters enter the locker room, the curtain falls. Scene 5, time next day, place the bar. Frankie and Russo are sitting at the table.
You did great, Frankie.
Thanks. Where's the money?
Russo takes an envelope out of his jacket pocket and gives it to Frankie, who opens the envelope, examines its contents, and then puts the envelope in his jacket pocket.
It's all there, kid.
I believe you.
You're a rich kid now. Easy money for easy work, I'd say.
Listen, you kid, just shut up. I did what I had to do. You paid me, and that's it. The deal is finished.
For now.
What do you mean for now?
You did so well that we may want to call upon your services again.
You mean throw another fight?
That's right, kid.
Maybe I'm planning to retire.
I don't think that would be too good an idea right now.
Why? Who's going to stop me?
Nobody.
Then I'm telling you now that I retire.
Okay, Frankie. But let me give you a piece of advice. The State Boxing Commission comes down hard on boxers who throw fights, and if the commission finds out about what you did, you'll be in a lot of trouble.
Who's gonna tell them?
People talk.
And what about you?
What about me?
You were on the deal too?
What deal? I'm just a fight fan who wished you all the best before the fight.
You think that people will believe that?
Sure they would. Why not? You'd say something different?
Maybe I would.
That would not be smart. You're just be getting yourself into trouble. I suggest that you take a nice vacation at my expense. And when you're nice and refreshed, we can talk.
You're not my manager.
Like heck I'm not. Who's paying the bills now?
What bills?
For anything you want or need.
I have no expenses and I don't need your money.
Yes, you do. You'll be staying at the Astor Hotel, and we'll be making sure that you have the finest clothing, best food, and all the women you need.
Keep it. Right now, I'm living with my parents, eat at home, and have everything I need.
Well, that will change.
How do you figure that?
Because of what's inside that envelope I gave you.
That money is going into a savings account.
Right.
You don't believe me?
Whatever you say, kid. There's a lot of money in that envelope. And there's a lot more where that came from.
More.
Yeah. That's why you're cooperating. This is just the start of the gravy train for you, kid.
Oh, what gravy train?
Are you dense or something?
I'm not dense.
You sure sound that way.
You know what? Stop insulting me.
I didn't mean to, kid. It's just, you're surprising me. I thought you'd be jumping for joy.
Over what? I threw a fight. Period. You paid me. Period. What's there to celebrate?
Getting paid $25,000.
The money's great and I'm willing to play ball with you, but don't boss me, okay? I want another fight soon.
Who do you think you are, kid?
What are you getting sore for?
Your attitude. Listen, kid, you're not working for me, and you'll do what I tell you.
What about it if I don't?
Then you'll be in a lot of trouble. But why should we be arguing? We got a good thing going. With your name and my guidance, we're gonna clean up big time.
Maybe I don't want your guidance.
That's not for you to decide.
Maybe I want out.
What are you talking about? You said you were willing to play ball. So what's your gripe? You have nothing to worry about. You have new friends now.
What about Kaplan?
Keep him if you want. But we're not gonna pay him. That's your responsibility.
Meaning what?
Meaning that we don't care who you pal around with, just as long as we maintain a good, working relationship.
Good working relationship.
What are you, my echo?
I was just thinking.
Oh, yeah. About what?
Will our working relationship include you giving me another shot at the title?
Absolutely. And not only that, you may actually become the champ.
How?
You watch, kid.
Don't tell me that you can fix it so I can become champ.
We did it for Doyle.
Listen, if I become champ, I wanted to win it legit, okay? No fix.
Whatever you say, kid.
Do me a favor, Mr. Russo.
Sure.
Stop calling me kid. My name is Frankie, okay?
Okay. Frankie. No need to get so touchy.
And stop talking to me like I'm a jerk.
And you watch your attitude, okay?
Get off my case.
If you be quiet and do what you're told, I won't be on your case.
I'll say whatever I please.
Look, either you play ball with us or there will be trouble.
Just because you gave me some money, you think you own me now?
That's right, Frankie.
Nobody owns me.
That's what you think.
That's exactly what I think. And as far as I'm concerned, this conversation is over.
You'll be hearing from us.
As Frankie and Russo get up from the table, the curtain falls. Scene 6. Time 1 week later. Place, the gym. Frankie is working out in the ring while Kaplan, standing outside of the ring, watches.
You're looking good, Frankie.
Thanks. What brings you here?
I have good news for you.
What is it?
I went to Cy Rothman. We talked about a rematch between you and Doyle. Rothman's willing to set up the match, and it's on the up and up. All you have to do is sign the contract.
Frankie leaves the ring and stands next to Kaplan, who gives Frankie the contract. Frankie briefly looks at the contract.
How come I'm only getting 20% of the gate?
You lost to him, remember?
So what? I still think I should get a bigger cut. I mean, what's Doyle gonna get?
25%. He's the champ.
25%. Champ or no champ, there's no way Doyle's worth more than me. People will be paying to see me, not Doyle.
Why are you squawking? Didn't your friends pay you enough money already? This is your chance to redeem yourself, and Rothman's willing to give you that chance. Now, will you take it?
Frankie looks at the contract again. While looking at the contract, Russo enters the scene.
Frankie, my boy, how are you?
Russo offers his hand. Frankie does not move.
What are you doing here?
I want to talk business with you.
Didn't I tell you to get lost?
What kind of attitude is that?
Get out of here!
I know you. You used to run with the Lupo gang.
Really?
Yeah. Last year, I saw you at Jack's gym on the west side. You and Louis Lupo tried to strong-arm Pete Tracy, but Tracy chased you and Lupo out of the place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Whatever you say.
Well, why don't you get lost now? Me and Frankie have things to talk about.
Whatever you have to say to Frankie, you could say to me. I'm his manager.
I don't care who you are. Get lost.
Don't talk to Mr. Captain like that.
Frankie, you better cool it.
This is how you do business.
This is how you're making me do business.
Well, I don't want to do business with you, so now get out of here.
Frankie turns to leave. Russo grabs Frankie from behind and hits him hard on the head with a club. Frankie falls to the floor. Kaplan rushes towards Russo, who punches Kaplan in the face. Kaplan staggers backwards and collapses onto the floor. Frankie tries to get up, but is pinned down by Russo, who has planted his foot on Frankie's back.
Frankie, I don't want to get rough with you and your pal, but if you want to play games, you're both going to get hurt. Let me up. Only if you promise to cooperate.
After a few moments, Frankie stops struggling.
Okay, I promise.
Okay. Now get out, and don't make any trouble.
Russo, still holding the club, removes his foot from Frankie's back and moves away from Frankie.
Are you okay, Mr. Captain?
I'm okay, Frankie. I'm just a little woozy.
Cut the small talk. You're both live.
Frankie and Kaplan are now back on their feet.
What is it that you want?
I heard that you may be fighting Doyle again.
So?
I may be in need of your services.
What services?
Stop playing games. You know what I mean.
Another fix?
I told you what would happen.
Told him what?
Stop clowns like you.
I'm a clown. And what does that make you? His guardian angel?
I tried to keep him honest.
Him? That's a laugh.
Yeah, at least I tried. And now I've arranged for him a legitimate shot at the title.
Oh, really? You want to know why you're getting a chance to fight Doyle?
Okay, tell me.
Because my pal, Ernie Flanagan, went to Rothman and set it up. You don't think Rothman would take a chance on a putz like you without being given something up front and a guaranteed cut of the action?
You're in with a big-time gangster like Ernie Flanagan?
That's right.
Don't believe it, Frankie. The fight's legit.
Go on, get out of here.
Stop pushing me. I'm leaving.
Then get lost already.
Kaplan starts to leave, then stops and turns around.
Frankie, be careful.
As Kaplan slowly exits the stage, Frankie and Russo sit down and start talking as the curtain falls.
What's wrong, Frankie?
Nothing.
You look upset.
I'm not upset.
You haven't eaten anything. That's not like you.
Will you and Dad please stop bugging me?
What do you want us to do? You look annoyed. We're supposed to say nothing?
I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to yell at you, but just got things on my mind.
You want to talk about it?
I think I'm in trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Big trouble.
So far, you're not telling me anything.
This is hard for me to talk about.
Well, try.
Dad, my fight with Doyle was not totally legit.
What do you mean?
I threw the fight.
What?
What?
That's right, I threw the fight.
Why'd you do that?
For the money.
How much?
$85,000.
Frankie, what you did was just plain wrong. In fact, you could go to prison for that.
I know.
You knew that and you still took the money? We expected better of you.
I know, and I'm sorry for disappointing you and Mom, but that doesn't solve my problem.
That you took the payoff.
That's part of the problem. But now the guys who pay me the money want me to throw a rematch with Doyle, and I can't shake them loose.
What about giving them the money back?
I can't do that. Once they give you the money, it's yours.
So now, you're their easy touch.
It looks like that.
What can I do? How'd they threaten you?
He told me if I don't go along with them, that they'll make sure that the State Athletic Commission finds out what I did.
Have you considered contacting the commission yourself?
I thought about doing that, but if I do that, I'm going to get a lot of heat from the commission.
Maybe that's the price you have to pay for being so dishonest. Who told you to take the money?
Nobody.
I still can't believe what you did.
What did you do with the money?
I put it in the bank.
Have you spent any of it?
No.
That's good. Don't spend any of it. Otherwise, you'll be making matters worse for yourself.
The last thing I want to do is spend that money.
Ironic, isn't it? You risk your career, reputation for some money, and now you don't even want to spend it.
Please don't lecture me, Dad. You asked what was bothering me, and I told you.
Don't tell me not to lecture you. Not only did you throw the fight,
You misled your own parents and jeopardized your life. How do we know that you're not lying right now?
Frankie takes a piece of paper from his pants pocket and gives it to Seymour.
Here's a deposit slip for $25,000.
Where did we go wrong with you?
We didn't do anything wrong, Mildred. What Frankie did was his responsibility and his alone. You were greedy. Your cut of the gate was not enough?
Dad, I did what I did, but I don't want to do it again.
What a relief.
What's going to happen?
See what you've done to your mother?
Seymour gives Mildred a tissue.
Okay, Dad, I know what I did was wrong, and now how can I get out of this?
I'm going to talk to a lawyer friend of mine. In the meantime, Frankie, you try to be careful from now on and keep your nose clean.
Curtain. Scene 8. Time a month later. Place a boxing ring. Frankie is in the near left corner. In the far right corner is Jimmy Doyle. The referee and the ring announcer are in the center of the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this corner wearing green trunks weighing 153 pounds, from Kalamazoo, Michigan, the middleweight champion of the world, Jimmy Doyle!
Boo! Boo!
And in this corner wearing blue trunks weighing 155 pounds from New York City, the #1 contender for the middleweight crown, Frankie Mason!
Frankie! 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 Frankie!
The ring announcer leaves the ring. Then the referee signals both boxers to approach the middle of the ring, gives the boxers their instructions, then the boxers touch gloves and return to their corners. The bell sounds and the boxers come out fighting as the curtain falls. Scene 9. Place the boxing ring. All is quiet.
The bell is rung, the boxers clash, the punches fly, each like a flash. One throws a right, the other a left. They weave and duck without a rest. It's all a game for those outside who scream and yell like kids real high. But for the men inside that ring, it's life itself for which they fling. It's not just money that makes them fight, it's fame and pride which stirs their light. And one will win and the other will lose, but each will know that they made news. So when you watch your next prize fight, just keep in mind that it's a sight where men can die, and sometimes to wow the fans and pay their dues. 'Cause win or lose is not the point, it's that you fight and leave the joint. To take a punch and done the same takes lots of skill and lots of game. As punches fly and blood and sweat get all mixed up while fans make bets on who will win and who will lose, the fighters fight, all banged and bruised. They're beat up bad with wobbly feet, but they're still alive, and that's a feat. They take their dough and have a beer and nurse their wounds and recall the cheers.
Scene 10. Time after the fight. Place the locker room, where there's pandemonium as reporters struggle with each other for a chance to interview Frankie, who is sitting on a bench next to a locker. Frankie is wearing his robe. Next to him are his boxing gloves. Out of the crowd of reporters comes Murray Berman, holding a microphone. Frankie stands up. Murray then conducts an interview with Frankie.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Murray Berman coming to you from the United Sports Arena with the new middleweight champion of the world, Frankie Mason, who just scored a sensational one-round knockout over the former champ, Jimmy Doyle, who had to be carried out of the ring. Frankie, how do you feel about this win?
I feel fine.
What are your plans now?
First, take it easy for the next few days, and then think about my plans then.
Did you do anything special to prepare for this fight?
Not really, I just trained hard and I stayed focused.
Did you ever doubt that you would win?
Never.
Did you think that you would win in such a spectacular way?
Boxing is an unpredictable game, and I went into this match with one goal, to win. And that's what I did. And whether it takes 1 round or 15 rounds, it's the final result that matters.
The crowd was really pulling for you tonight. How did that make you feel?
I feel great, and I appreciate the support of the fans.
You really bounced back after the first loss to Doyle. Are you willing to give him another shot at the title?
That's something you have to discuss with my manager.
There are rumors that your fight with Doyle might have been fixed. Any comments?
Nothing but cheap talk. Tonight I proved that I'm the best middleweight fighter in the world.
Frankie, you're a role model for kids all over this town. What do you have to say to them?
Listen to your parents and keep your noses clean. And while I'm at it, I like to say hello to my parents, to whom I owe everything to.
Spoken like the great guy you are. Thanks a lot, Frankie, and good luck.
Frankie and Murray shake hands. Kaplan enters the scene and clears the locker room of the reporters. Finally, Frankie and Kaplan are alone.
Frankie, I'm proud of you. That was the greatest fight of your career. And if you play your cards right, you could be the next Al McCoy or Ben Jibby.
Yeah, maybe. I guess you're my manager again.
How about going to New Trials for a fight?
I don't think so, Mr. Kaplan.
Frankie, we're proud of you.
As Frankie's about to answer, Russo barges into the locker room. Russo has a gun.
Why, you two-timing double-crosser! You were supposed to lose!
I know.
Is that all you can say? I know.
What else you want me to say?
Frankie, we had a deal. Everything is all messed up now. I'm out 300 G's because of you. Where am I gonna get that kind of money?
Can't help you there.
Don't play stupid with me. I'll plug you right now.
Who's stopping you?
Don't tempt me.
Pull the trigger.
Frankie, don't say that.
Tired of it.
Russo points the gun at Frankie. Then 4 uniformed police officers rush into the locker room, led by a man dressed in civilian clothes, all with guns in their hands.
Freeze! Drop that gun now!
Russo hesitates for a moment, then drops his gun. The uniformed police officers grab Russo.
Joseph Russo, I'm Special Agent Howard Kleinberg of the New York State Police Anti-Racketeering Unit. You are under arrest for racketeering, extortion, assault, and illegal possession of a deadly weapon. You have the right to remain silent and consult with an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Get that guy out of here!
While being led away by one of the uniformed police officers, Russo turns around, looks at Frankie, and screams.
I'll get you, Mason!
You and who else? I'll punch you in the face if you ever as much look at me again.
You're a dead man, pal!
Oh yeah? You threatening me?
Frankie suddenly lunges towards Russo and is restrained by 2 of the uniformed police officers, while the other 2 uniformed police officers escort Russo off the stage.
Calm down!
You can let go of me now.
The 2 uniformed police officers release Frankie.
Why don't you two help out with Russo?
Yes, sir.
Both uniformed police officers exit the stage.
I know those guys were handcuffed, but I couldn't help losing my cool. I was within seconds of becoming a goner. That guy Russo was about to shoot me.
I know. Try to calm down.
How do you know Frankie?
Frankie decided to come forward and tell the State Athletic Commission about his dealings with the Russo gang. Because of the information Frankie provided and Frankie's willingness to cooperate with our investigation into corruption in boxing, we were able to set up this operation. What Frankie did took a lot of courage. Guys like Russo don't play games. He was going around putting the pinch on boxers to fix fights and then threatening to report them as crooks if they didn't do what they were told. Hopefully this will put a stop to that kind of criminal activity.
That's really something, Frankie.
I did what I had to do. I mean, if I hadn't been so greedy and dumb, I wouldn't have been in this predicament in the first place.
Nobody's perfect.
What happens now?
Russo and his gang will be arraigned, indicted, and put on trial, and you'll be the star witness for the prosecution.
I'll cooperate.
I know you will.
Frankie and Kleinberg shake hands.
You'll be hearing from us.
Kleinberg exits the stage. Frankie sits down.
So now, you're a stoolie for the police? How does it feel?
Not so good.
How long is this arrangement supposed to last?
I don't know.
Your parents know.
Yeah, they know. In fact, my father arranged me to contact the commission. If it weren't for him, I'd be in jail right now, or maybe worse.
Well, good luck.
Where are you going?
Catherine turns around and faces Frankie.
I'm leaving.
I thought you were going to Luke's house.
I just remembered I had some other business to attend to.
You're not trying to dodge me now, are you?
Not at all, Frankie. I'm happy that you're now champ and hope that it brings you a lot more success. But I think it will be better if we not talk to each other for a while.
Okay, Mr. Kaplan, if that's what you want.
Kaplan looks at Frankie for a few moments, then gently pats Frankie on the shoulder. Frankie looks up at Kaplan, then they slowly shake hands. The captain leaves the locker room, and Frankie is left alone, with a forlorn expression on his face. Suddenly, a young, attractive woman, early 20s, casually but neatly attired, rushes into the room, slamming the door behind her. Frankie, startled, looks up at her.
Phew, those guys out there are animals. They can't keep their mitts off a girl.
Who are you and what are you doing here?
My name is Gertie Brown. I think you're the greatest, and I wanted to tell you that personally.
Well, I don't feel too great now, and so I appreciate it if you leave.
You just won the championship, and now you're down in the dumps? You're a hero! What's the problem?
I did some really stupid things, and now we're paying the price.
Oh yeah? You want to tell me about it?
Sure, why not? You seem to be all right.
Well, thanks. But I think you're all right, too.
Gertie sits down on a chair facing Frankie.
Life can be really tough, and I did some crappy things that hurt my parents, and nothing in the world can ever change that.
What did you do?
I got involved with the wrong crowd, you know, mobsters, guys who don't give a crap about you and just want to use you and let myself be used. I mean, what I showed them, I was supposed to take a dive, but I didn't. Instead, I won, and now everyone's mad at me, and I don't care because if they want to try something, I'll show them who's the boss. And
Calm down, fella. You're getting yourself all worked up.
listen, sister, don't tell me to calm down or what to do or anything. You hear me? You got that?
I didn't mean anything by it. I was just trying to help.
Okay, but you seem like a good kid. You're not going to hurt me, are you?
Little old me. Hurt a strong, tough guy like you.
Hey, what's so funny? I asked you a straight question, so don't play with me, okay? I mean, because if you do, you better get the hell out of here right now.
I'm not playing with you, Frankie. I'm just a girl from the neighborhood who wanted to get your autograph. That's all.
You're from the neighborhood. How come I never seen you around?
I was away for a while. After my parents split, I moved with my mom from the east side to Queens, where we live with my grandparents. Went to high school there, even attended a semester of college. But I couldn't stand living there anymore, always being told what to do and what not to do. So I moved out, and now I'm staying with a girlfriend in a walk-up on Suffolk Street near the bridge.
So how do you support yourself?
Sales jobs, clerical work, secretarial work. Not the greatest jobs, but they pay the bills, so I get by.
Well, there's more to life than just getting by, and that's what I'm in the fighting game for me. To make money, lots of money. But a jerk like me, myself, I got sidetracked and I was used by these filthy lowlives who had the nerve to threaten me. Me! But that won't happen again. No way.
Wow, you're really upset. Maybe there's something that I can do to help.
Like what?
Take a guess.
What are you driving at?
Well, wouldn't you like to have some company? Help you calm down? Somebody to hold your hand and rub your back when you're feeling down?
What are you doing? Proposition me?
No, Frankie, I'm not that kind of girl. I just want to be close to you. I like you. I'm not a bad-looking girl, am I?
No, you're not. Well, maybe we can work something out.
Gertie gets up, stands next to Frankie, and starts stroking his hair.
How's that feel?
Feels good. You got a nice touch.
Frankie stands, embraces Gertie, and starts unzipping the back of her dress.
Okay, babe, have it your way. Just don't mess with me.
I won't, Frankie. You'll be gentle with me, won't you?
I won't hurt you, babe. Now just shut up and let's have some fun.
Frankie gives Gertie a long, deep, passionate kiss on the lips, and then they both sink to the floor as the lights go out. Scene 11, 1 year later. Frankie and Gertie are sitting in a living room in an apartment. A baby is in a bassinet. The baby is crying.
There she goes again.
Yeah. Time for another feeding?
I guess so.
Gertie picks up a bottle and starts feeding the baby. Then the telephone rings. Frankie answers it.
Hello? How are you, Dad? What's up? You're almost finished with me? Great news. Thanks for everything. Tilly's all right. And Gertie sends her love. Say hello to Mom for me.
Frankie hangs up the phone.
My father told me that the State Boxing Commission is almost finished with their investigation and they may not need me anymore.
That's good news. Now what are we going to do about money?
Hey, I'm trying my best. You know, being a school teacher may not pay much, but at least it's steady work.
Well, your best isn't good enough. When we met, you promised that you'd be making a ton of money. That never happened.
Things change, you know, and I can't get back into the ring. Not now, not ever.
Who's asking you to? Do something else. Get a second job. Or otherwise, I may have to go back to work.
Oh, please, don't start with that malarkey again, especially not while you're feeding the baby.
I'm being serious. If you can't bring in money, then I will.
Hey, if you want to take charge of the finances, then go right ahead. I won't stop you.
Where's the tough guy that I married? The guy with all those big dreams of glory and greatness? The guy who wanted it all?
Listen, Gertie, I still have those dreams, and sure, I want the best things for us. But after I went through the past year, I learned to count my blessings and not be so cocky and pushy. And if you can't accept that, then so be it. I'll deal with it.
Don't be so ridiculous.
I'm not ridiculous. I'm just letting you know what life means to me for me now. For me, it means supporting my family, acting responsibly, being there, and trying to be at peace with the world. I tried being a wise ass and getting it all, and almost got me killed. And I think I'm pretty damn lucky that I got a second chance to go on with my life, which allowed me to live and meet a girl like you. And next time, I may not be so lucky, and then where would that leave you and the kid?
Gertie places the baby in the bassinet and runs to Frankie and hugs him hard.
Don't leave me, Frankie. Don't ever leave me. Don't say it. Don't even think it. The thought of you not being here makes me sick. Forget what I said about the money. We'll get by.
Don't worry, babe. I plan on being around for a long time. After all, aren't I the champ?
You sure are.
Frankie and Gertie hug and laugh as the stage lights go out. The end.